Hey everyone, welcome back to another video from me. This week I thought I would talk about things that I think are really good to know if you are considering moving or taking a trip to Australia, and I obviously am going to be talking about Sydney. So for those that are new to my channel, hi, welcome along. I am a mum of two. Me and my husband moved with our two kids almost a year ago now to Sydney, and we have travelled about. We are currently in the Central Coast and absolutely loving it. But we did decide to vlog our full journey from packing up in Scotland to where we are just now. So please feel free to have a look at my channel, have a look at some of my other videos, and if you would like to, then I would love if you would consider subscribing. Now today's video will come in very handy if you are planning a trip over or, like ourselves, coming to move over to Sydney. I've put together a few things that I think are really good information to know if you're coming over, and I hope you enjoy. So number one is the emergency contact number. So here in Australia it's 000. If you call that number, you will then be directed to either the police, fire or ambulance service. So number two is the tipping culture. So Australia's minimum wage is higher than many countries. Therefore tipping is not as common or as expected. So although it is appreciated for exceptional service, it's not mandatory and you will not feel any pressure or expectation to do so. Number three is all about the wildlife. As we all know, Australia is home to many unique wildlife such as kangaroos, koalas, and then obviously the more dangerous ones such as sharks, spiders and snakes. I think it would be really important to familiarise yourself with the common types, depending on which area you're in as well, and just understanding that there are dangerous species here. I actually follow a few Facebook groups which I've found to be very helpful. They are all about identifying different types of spiders and obviously different types of snakes. And it's also been really good for just educating myself on them and obviously what to do if you ever are to come across them. Now obviously, as we all know, Australia is home to the wild kangaroos. Now a lot of people do travel here purely just to see kangaroos and koalas. What I would say is if you are looking to spot a wild one, then I don't advise looking for them in the city. You will not find them here. If you're looking for a wild kangaroo, then I advise getting out of the city, being more rural, more regional. You tend to find them usually at dusk and most likely around a golf course or a kind of open area park. I know some little holiday resorts, like your little beach cabins, they tend to have their local wild ones that come for a visit, and they tend to be obviously along the beach as well. So do your research on that, but I know certainly we have never came across any in the city, but we have when we've been further out. Now, number four is one that's taken me quite a long time to get used to, but that is walking about in barefoot is normal here in Australia. You should absolutely expect to see someone doing their weekly shopping barefoot. You will see them outside at the petrol station. I have come across so many people, especially now that I'm in the Central Coast, and they just don't wear shoes. It is absolutely a thing here, very normal. And actually the other day somebody was chatting to me about my accent, and we were talking about people not wearing shoes and how that is just completely not a thing for me back home. And he actually said to me, how do you expect us to pick up things with our toes if you cover them with socks and shoes? And that really made me laugh. I feel like that just completely sums up Australians. Now my next one may seem like an obvious one, but it's all to do with the Australian sun. The sun here is very, very harsh, even in the cooler months, so you should always pack and wear SPF 50 and have sunglasses with UV protection. For the kids, I only buy the swimsuits with the long sleeves or even long legs if I can find them. Also, they always wear their hats when they're out, and I just apply sunscreen as much as I can throughout the day. An app that I use every day is the BOM app, B-O-M. I feel like that's been the most accurate out of all the kind of weather apps. Obviously we live in a tropical area, the weather changes all the time, but I found that this has been very accurate, and it does tell you the UV index and it gives you how high it is. Yesterday it was at its maximum, so obviously we chose to stay indoors yesterday. but it's a very good app to have, and obviously it can let you know if there's a storm coming or if the weather's about to change. But more so for the sun, another piece of advice I can give, especially if you are a mum with kids, is to stay out of the sun when it's at its hottest. So for us, we found that to be any time between 12 and 3, and honestly even after 3 it can sometimes feel still very hot. But coming from the UK and holidaying in Europe, we are used to staying out in the sun all day, and it's just something that you cannot do here. It's unbearable. Now, the next one is all about water safety. All of your main beaches in Australia, all of the ones that we've been to anyway, have all been patrolled. And one piece of advice all the lifeguards will tell you is to swim between the flags. Now, this is the area that is getting patrolled by the lifeguards, and obviously they give out warnings, and it's very important to listen to them, usually about rips or jellyfish that are coming in, and then the obvious of the shark sightings. Now, something I really didn't know anything about was the rips and how common they are here in Australia. So rip currents have the potential to literally pull swimmers out to sea. They're typically found in areas with underwater sandbanks that obstruct the free flow of water back to the shore, and that's what causes the rip. They are extremely dangerous, and if I'm honest, they're not the most obvious to spot, so it's super important to listen to the lifeguards and the announcements that they make. Water safety in Australia is extremely important, and one thing I would say is the lifeguards here, they're all very helpful, very informative, and they also have their volunteers as well, who've usually come through a set of programs. Starting from 5 years old, you can enrol your children into a club called Little Nippers, and I'm super excited to get Isla into this, if I'm honest. They literally teach them everything about the water, and usually you tend to find a lot of the younger volunteers are people who have come through those programs, and they're there to support you and obviously there to help you. So one of the things that I've definitely felt very supported with is the water safety, and I've never felt that I've been at a beach and not really knew if it was safe or not to go in the water. One of the most important things is to obviously swim between those flags. That is the area that's patrolled, and that is the area that, should you ever get in any danger, then you're going to get some help. So moving on now to public transport in Sydney, and getting around is very easy. All you need is your Opal card. Opal is a smart card ticketing system used to pay for travel on public transport in Sydney, the Blue Mountains, Central Coast, the Hunter and the Illawarra. Now, the Opal card is free and you can pick it up from most convenience stores, and there's a minimum top-up value of $20. You can either do this at the store or you can also do it at the little top-up stations, usually just when you go into the metro. Now, don't panic if you don't have an Opal card, because you can also use your contactless, your debit, credit card. You just do the same tap on and tap off, and it's no different cost to what it would be with an Opal card. I know some people just prefer to have the Opal card because it shows them their balance, and another good point is that if you are travelling in a group, then each of you have to have your own card. So for example, I couldn't pay for my mum on my card if she came over, because all your tickets are linked to your debit card. So when you're on the metro, you may find that people will come round and they just check that you have paid for your fare, and the way they do this is they'll ask you to scan your debit card or your Opal card, and that then has generated a code when you've tapped on, and that links up and proves to them that you have paid your fare. Now, talking about public transport, I highly recommend that you use the ferry. It's a legitimate form of public transport here in Sydney, and one that is very scenic. For a day trip, I would recommend taking the ferry to Manly if you want to spend a day there. Obviously, Manly Beach is very popular. You can also take it out to Watson's Bay, or you can even take it as far as Parramatta. Now, if you are driving, then I have mentioned this before, but you do have to pay a fee to travel on toll roads. Now, these are all cashless and they are managed by two providers, which is eToll and Linked. Now, the good thing is you can set up an electronic tag account, or if you prefer, you can pay for a casual pass as well. But be aware, because if you travel on a road without a tag or a casual pass, then you will be issued with a notice to pay the fee, and that will incur admin charges as well. The longer you take to pay the fee, the more money you will be expected to pay out. For more toll road information as well as a toll calculator, you can find this on the Service New South Wales website, which I will link below. That brings me to the end of this video. I hope you have enjoyed, and as always, if you feel there's anything I have missed out or you would like to add, then please comment below. It does help loads of people who are watching my channel and either due to come out on a holiday or like yourselves moving over. I also want to say a huge thank you to those that have donated me a coffee to get me through the editing stages of this video. I have actually decided to keep the money in a little pot, and I'm going to invest it into buying some new equipment for my YouTube channel. I'm going to start with a gimbal, which I've already seen a few tourists with here and I think they look fab. For those that don't know what that is, it's a little device that basically keeps your camera or your phone steady whilst you take some nice photography or videography, and I feel it's something that I could definitely be benefiting with. So yes, thank you to those that have. If you would like to, then by all means, I would absolutely love that, and I will leave the link below, and I will see you all in my next video.